Here at Boyles of Killorglin, over the last couple of months, they have been busy trying to build a brand new garden centre so that everyone can come here and see the most beautiful flowers, shrubs, and make sure that their garden is beautiful. And the results are now here for you to see. Bigger, brighter and better. It's the brand new garden centre here at Boyles of Killorglin. We're delighted to be here. It's full of loads of colours, plants and shrubs, and also some veg, which is what we're going to be talking about with our gardening expert Trish. Now, I just have to find her. So here we are amongst the vegetables in the brand new looking Boyles Garden Centre here at Boyles of Killorglin, and joining me as always is our gardening expert Trish. Trish, how are you?
I'm very good, Alan, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Are you very happy? You're back in your natural habitat,
yes,
so to speak,
and
but it's much bigger, it's much more spacious, it looks great.
Yeah, it's fabulous now and it's full of colour, so if there's anybody out there who wants to come for a jaunt around the garden centre and look at plants and smell, this is the place to be.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. Well, at the moment, the one thing I'm just surrounded by here at the moment, obviously, is we've got a lot of veg and stuff, and that is going to be our topic for today's show. So where are we going to start, Trish?
Okay, I suppose like at the moment people are thinking, what can I grow for the summer, or how can the kids get involved and all that. So we've got loads of vegetable plants, be it your cabbages, your broccoli, we've got the tomatoes, we've got the cucumbers. So I'm just going to go through a few of them as to how to plant them, what sort of soil, sun conditions or shade, or where to plant them and what to watch out for.
Okay, great, great.
So we're going to start off with the plants there, which are beside you there. We've got broccoli and we've got cabbage.
Right.
Now, a lot of people are wondering, can I plant a broccoli in a pot, or do they all have to go outside? So you're better off to plant them out into the ground, because if you can imagine an actual plant of a broccoli or cabbage, they can grow anything from...
They can get quite big.
Yeah, they can get quite big and quite bushy. So when you're even planting them, now you can buy them in trays here.
Yes.
You can also buy them as seed.
Seeds,
yeah,
of course.
If you want to start off the seeds, but we have them in plants if you didn't want to go through all the hassle.
A little bit of a head start.
Exactly.
Giving you a bit of a head start. And of course you'd always hear about the old cabbage patch, so you'd also have that area outside. But as you said, they do kind of grow quite big, so they need a bit of space.
They need a bit of space. So when you're planting the plants itself, you want to plant them about maybe 2 to 3 feet apart. That's the distance between each plant. And then between each row, you're talking about 2 feet between each row as well.
Okay.
I suppose then you're wondering, when do I get the actual cabbage, or when do I get the broccoli? When will they be ready? You're talking about 3 to 4 months before you'll actually get them. So there's a bit of time waiting with them, but it's actually worth it, because
like everything,
the flavour of growing your own plants is just, there's nothing to outstand it really.
And for these, Trish, would you advise people to dig down into their garden, or would it be kind of a bit like the potatoes where you kind of build up a bit of a kind of a thing?
No, you can dig on the flat.
Yeah.
Now, obviously then your soil, you must, first of all, you need sun for all these vegetables and the fruits and all that, because you need about 6 to 8 hours of sunshine a day. So try not put them in a shady spot would be number one. You need to enrich your soil then.
Okay.
Right, so if your soil isn't great, what you need to add? So you can add in some topsoil. And we also have a new vegetable one here then as well. It's a planting soil for vegetables.
Specifically for vegetables?
For vegetables.
Okay,
what that is, organic matter.
Okay.
So it's not very peat-based either. So it's all organic matter. That'd be excellent. And we also have chicken manure.
Chicken manure here as well.
You can never go wrong with that. And like that will feed for up to 3 months.
Okay.
So what I would do with that is put down all your compost, put your fertiliser, fork it lightly, so all that's gone into the top couple of inches. Rake it out. Any stones or anything that are in it, make sure to take them out. So you have a nice surface. I'd leave it then settle for about a day or two, because when you put in fresh compost, it's up high. You want the rain to fall on it, or you want it to settle, so it's down.
Compound a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then you plant away. So what you do is you do straight rows with your cabbages or your broccoli, and as I say, plant them about 2.5 feet apart, and they'll come on fine then as well. Now when you're planting your broccoli or your cabbage, I would actually plant them a little bit deep. So anybody that's watching on Facebook now will be able to see.
Okay.
See the bottom there where you've got two bottom
leaves kind of right at the very bottom of the stalk. For
they were actually the ones that when they were sown as seeds, they were the little true leaves. So I actually planted deep up to there. Now the reason for that, as we were saying at the start, the plant itself gets quite big. So if you don't plant them a little bit deep, it might fall over and break. Whereas if you plant them deep, the plant then is sturdier, and it'll be able to get more roots or whatever. Now, I suppose one of the things then a lot of people are wondering is about the caterpillar and the butterflies.
So that's what happens when you have all these. I'm sure people have gone through the whole process and putting out their cabbage and putting out their thing, and then all of a sudden the huge holes, they just start appearing in all of the leaves.
Yeah, and it could be gone before you know it.
Ruining it. Now,
if you've only got a small plot of them, it would be no harm. Where you'll actually see them is on the under surface of the leaf.
Yeah.
So what you do is you lift up the surface and you'll see like a little green caterpillar.
Yeah.
If you see that,
just give them
take it off. Now, the way to stop the caterpillar coming, obviously it's the butterfly that's laying the eggs, right? So you want to stop the butterfly from doing that.
Okay.
So once you plant your cabbages, get a little frame, even if you had wire, bend it into a hoop over what I'm calling as a drill, which would be the straight row.
The straight row, okay.
And put a netting over it.
Okay.
So that'll stop the butterfly from
actually getting in there to actually to put in the eggs in the first place.
Yeah, now the only thing, you can't just leave it fall over loosely. You have to tuck it in around the sides as well, because the butterfly can get in any direction whatsoever.
Yeah. They know where they're going.
Exactly.
Like, they know exactly what they're trying to do.
So if you put up your netting in good time, it'll solve the problem of the caterpillar coming.
Okay.
But that never happens. A lot of people, they forget that even if you miss a day or a week, the caterpillar could have laid the eggs.
Okay.
So
what other alternatives then
that we have here? Now, a lot of people, including myself, I don't like spraying chemicals on the veg that you're going to eat or whatever.
Of course, yeah.
So there's always products that are available, whether they're organic or this one is called grazers for cabbage white butterfly and caterpillars.
Right.
So there's no chemical in this at all. What it is actually just calcium. You spray that on and that'll keep away and it'll kill anything that's there.
That
deters it away, yeah. So that's actually quite good to have.
Right, and we have two other products in as well too, because obviously with other veg, another problem you'd have would be the slugs and the snails.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
I mean, they're a problem everywhere.
One, yeah.
And again, now that's no chemicals whatsoever. So it's safe around your pets. It's safe around children as well. It's safe for your plants.
Yeah.
And you just spray that around then as well.
Our products do not harm anything, and pollinator friendly as well
exactly,
too.
which is very important. Yeah.
And then another one as well, if you're out in the countryside, a little bit further out, where you might have some rabbits and some deer.
Yes, yeah.
We even have something to deter them as well.
Exactly, and again, it's non-chemical or whatever, and that's fantastic as well. So you'd spray that around, or sometimes with that particular product, even if you had a piece of wood or a damp rag, spray it onto it, and it keeps the scent of it there for much longer then as well.
Excellent. All right,
just to put it here and there throughout your plants at the
So it's
rabbits.
again, it's the simplest little thing, as in the smell can really kind of deter
them.
Right down to the butterfly and the calcium.
Now you said it. Yeah, they just know now that you're talking about the smell. The next thing we're going to go through is carrots.
Right.
Now,
Lovely.
a lot of people would have heard of the carrot root fly. So basically that would eat the carrot underneath, and you definitely don't want that.
You wouldn't even know it was gone until you went to pull it up.
That's the thing. And it's how the carrot root fly, they actually smell the carrot itself.
Okay.
Right? So you want to, what's the wording now, to keep
deter
it away. So the best thing I would do with that would be to plant a row of onions or a row of garlic right beside it, so that the onion smell is counteracting the smell of the carrot.
Okay, so this would be like what you'd call kind of companion growing,
exactly,
really, isn't it?
That's it.
So they kind of work well together. So the onions and garlic would actually, disguise the smell of the carrots, and that would actually
keep it away.
The root fly away. Brilliant.
Now, I suppose the next thing with carrots, the soil is very important. It definitely can have no stones or anything like that, and it's kind of like a sandy, well-drained soil for that.
Okay.
So if you've got a heavy soil, make sure to incorporate loads of sand into it. Or even carrots can also be growing in pots. Like if you've got a pot with a depth of about 8 inches, you don't have to let a carrot grow to its full extent.
Right.
You can have little baby carrots, and they'll be ready
course.
quicker. So if you have the children that are growing the carrots, at least they'll see carrots sooner when they're only baby carrots.
Yeah.
So that would be a good way as well. Or if you didn't have onions or garlic, or you weren't planting them, you could just put a pot of lavender or a pot of rosemary or a pot of chives or something that has a strong smell to go beside it.
Okay, excellent. Well, now let's talk about our kind of lettuce. Let's talk about the lettuce, because I've had a go at my lettuce at home, and
what happened, Alan?
It's okay. It's not too bad. I'll share my photos and my pictures of how it's going. They're going all right, but they can be quite difficult to transplant because they're so brittle, straight
small.
from the seed.
Yeah.
So if I'm not saying I have failed, but if they were to fail, we have options here as well, don't we?
Option B.
Hey, look,
Plan B.
I never said I was the garden expert. I was the chance my arm kind of guy.
Again, like everything, not everybody has time or the space to be growing seeds or whatever. So you can come in and you can buy your pack of 12 lettuces. Now, there's a lot of different varieties of lettuce. This one I have now in my hand, it actually grows into a head. And you can actually see by the look of it, it's nearly forming the head already.
Yeah.
But that's not saying that you can't just pluck a leaf here and there if you want.
So even at that young stage, you could actually...
You could
like,
see
them.
that there now.
Yeah.
Like, that's fabulous. You can bring that in and eat it this evening.
Lovely.
No problem whatsoever.
Lunch. Have it for lunch. Now, I love the, is it the chard? Is it?
No, that's actually lettuce as well.
That's lettuce,
but it's a different coloured lettuce. You've got the red leaf and the green.
Yes,
and it's handy because it's all in the one tray, so you can decide, will I buy a tray of green or a tray of red? You can have it all mixed in the one.
You could save a fortune.
And again, that's leaf, so you'd eat that by the leaf rather than the head.
Yeah.
And then we've also got this, which is very, very popular. It's called cut and come.
And come again.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, if I cut off this leaf, another one will grow in its place. So that just keeps on coming the whole time. Like, so that's fantastic.
That would be fun.
Now with lettuces, again, you don't necessarily have to plant them into the ground.
And this is the question, because I was
Yeah.
wondering what my next phase is going to be. If they do manage to grow up to be that big, would you then put them outside? Would they go with the cabbages and the broccoli, or would you put them separate?
I'll put them separate because you have to remember the cabbage and the broccoli are such big plants and they'd be too shaded over it. Unless you were to do the edge around where your cabbage plot is.
Okay.
Or else you can do them in window boxes.
Yeah.
And you could have your window box and your windowsill outside this time, Alan.
Yeah, good.
And
hopefully the weather's getting better.
Yeah, so that they'll be near the kitchen door then as well, or you can grow them in pots as well. But there's no problem, like you can grow them anywhere as long as they get a little bit of light.
Yeah.
Not full sunlight all day, because I find then the leaves will get a bit limp if it's the heat of the sun all day. So, but they're very easy grow when you have them as plants. They'll just come away.
Now this is the beetroot.
Yes.
Look, I can tell by the lovely purple stalks on this now what this is. So beetroot, another popular and easy one to grow.
Very easy to grow. Very easy to grow. Again, can be planted directly into the ground. There's a couple of plants in each little cell, so you can actually divide them out. You plant them then about 8-9 inches apart, and again the time to harvest them then when they're about a golf ball size. You don't want to let them get too big, because then the texture of it is kind of too leathery and too stringy.
So it kind of toughens up a bit too
it toughens
much.
them up. So harvest them when they're kind of golf ball size, and they'd be fabulous.
Now I'm very interested to get to the back row here, because these are some ones that I wouldn't have even really thought of kind of growing at home or anything like that, but especially the sweet corn. I just think of big fields of corn.
You do, yeah.
You know?
Now I suppose with sweet corn, you do have to plant them in blocks. You can't just plant one plant. Because what it's called wind pollination. So they need a couple of them. If you had an area, you could plant maybe 9 of them. So you have 3, whatever. And they'll pollinate each other. Now they do need to be outside preferably. If you grow them indoors, you will actually have to shake them when they're in flower, so that they'll pollinate
each other. I know what you mean. Right.
So at least when you're outside, the wind is blowing them, and that pollinates for them. But they have to be grown in blocks. You can't grow one or two in groups.
Absolutely.
Now with sweet corn, they can grow high, so you have to remember the spacing that you're getting as well. They can grow anything up to 3 to 4 feet in height, the actual of it. So they're fantastic to grow. I mean, they're easy to grow. Once you have them planted, there's no bother with them.
Would they come back?
No, they don't come back.
So
They're just for the one season and that's it.
Great.
And then, of course,
speaking of seasons,
yes, I know we're a little bit early,
but at the same time, you plant them now, and come Halloween,
you have your own pumpkins. Now they do spread quite a lot. So you have to pick an area. I had them in my own tunnel once, and what I did was I kind of put it near the path. I had my tomatoes and everything growing, and it kind of grew underneath the tomatoes and that sort of way. But it was actually fine because the tomatoes didn't need space down low. But if you have that outside, even put it somewhere that it's going to even climb over rocks or something like that. And obviously the root of it has to be in the soil. But it is quite vigorous. But I think once it grows to about 5 foot in length along the ground, pinch out the top of it.
Keep it restricted to that.
Keep it restricted, and plus then you'll get bigger pumpkins from that as well.
Because like we always used to say as well too, if they try to keep growing out, they won't actually, the fruit won't concentrate.
You'll get small. You get a load
Everything
of
will be
small
small
little
stuff.
ones.
So at least if you kind of keep it within a certain range,
and then
everything will kind of grow.
So they're fantastic. And then also keeping on the squash line, we've got the butternut squash.
I'm thinking soups now, between pumpkin soup.
Yeah, we're going to winter now. But they're fantastic and they're very easy grow. And again, they do spread quite a lot as well.
Okay.
Now the other option is, if you didn't have the space, put it in a big pot and put your pot somewhere, then maybe even on your patio or something like that.
Yeah.
Let it spread away, and
Okay.
you'll get your butternut squashes out of it.
So that one doesn't need others to pollinate or anything. That'll
No,
work on its
the
own.
one will do on its own.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
And then you have the cucumber. Again, now this is called Tasty Green, and again, you can plant that independently. It doesn't need a couple of them or anything like that. It'll grow up to about the 5 feet high, and you treat it like the tomato then as it's grown along. I think as the season's going on, we'll show you how to look after tomato plant as it's growing.
Of course, it's one we do always kind of come back to.
So with the cucumbers, I suppose it is better off to plant them inside.
Okay.
They need the heat. They need good
So
sunshine.
if you have a small little glass house or something like
yeah,
that, it's
the
probably
little,
ideal for
exactly.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So they're great.
And let's talk about the tomatoes, because they are the big popular one that everyone loves to grow.
Yeah, and look, they're fine. You can plant them outdoors, but if you're planting them outdoors, wait until about the middle of May.
Okay.
Because you will still get frost, even though this week has been mixture between everything, really. But it's hard to say. But you will get frost still at night time, so don't plant them out until you're sure that all the frosts are gone. Okay. Tomatoes, of all of them, like a warm soil.
Very sensitive as well.
Yeah, I know when people think, if I put it in early, I'll have tomatoes early. But if you put yours in now and it gets cold, and you plant another one in 2 weeks' time, the one in 2 weeks' time will do better, because the soil is warmer and it'll take better then as well.
Yeah.
So if you're planting them inside with the cucumber and with the tomatoes, they do need support. So you have to put up a bamboo cane or run a string if you can tie it from it and wrap it around it, and that'll grow. Or else we also have tomato bags. If you don't have the space, tomato bag, you can actually plant in 3 tomatoes. There's a little square that you can cut out.
So this is the one where you literally just cut out the square in the bag and put in the tomatoes and then
put
just cut out the bag.
Yeah, and put in a bamboo cane.
Wow.
And that was it.
Fantastic.
Now, I suppose with them all, then you need to, how do you feed them, or how often do you feed them? Usually when you plant a tomato, you put feed down with it straight away.
Okay.
And then the next time you start to feed it is when it goes into flower. And you feed it 2 weeks after that. And you usually feed it with the tomato food. Again, like we have different types of, we've got the organic tomato food if you want to keep organic, or we've got the ordinary tomato food as well. All the dilution rates are on the back of them. Again, like everything with the feeds, make sure that the plant is moist first before you put on feed, or you'll actually burn the roots of it then as well.
Right, very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Another thing as well, sometimes the tomatoes get green fly or whatever, so you're back to companion planting again. You could plant marigolds with it.
I've loved the marigolds.
Marigolds. And if you kind of dot them here and there throughout it, it'll discourage the green fly from coming into it as well.
So they don't like the marigolds.
No, and what else we've got? We've got peppers then as well. And again, that's another one that needs to be planted indoors. Now this is a small little one. It only grows to about foot and a half in height.
Yeah.
So this can be grown in a pot, again, if you don't have space, or planted directly into the ground in a tunnel or a greenhouse or something like that.
And they can be a nice little fun one as well too.
Exactly.
The kids, and they grow quite quickly too, don't
They
they?
do, they do. And like, I think anything bright and colourful, like, it's nice to see it coming on then. And then we've also got broad beans.
Okay, broad beans.
Broad beans. Now, again, with the broad beans, they will need support because they'll grow up so far and they'll kind of flop around. So even if you got little bamboo canes and ran string from one bamboo cane to the other, and they'll support each other then like that as well.
Great, super. Well, listen, that is lots of great suggestions and some fantastic ideas for people to get out and be self-sufficient, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the produce has got so much more expensive now.
Hey, but I tell you, with the price of living, cost of living
so
going up, it'd be great. Everyone's looking at it.
Grow a small bit, like you don't have to grow loads and loads of everything, just small bits of everything, and that'll be quite sufficient.
Absolutely.
Because even there was a gentleman in this morning, he says, I got 5 or 6 tomatoes, I could have fed the whole nation, he goes, with them. So he says, I didn't know for my first year, but he says, I'll come in now, and he said, I'll buy 2, and that's enough for me.
If that would be another thing, just to start small.
Start small. Yeah.
And
you can work from there then. You'll kind of have a better idea then next year as to what you're using more or not using, and you can go from there then.
Excellent. Trish, that is fantastic. Lots of great tasty ideas for everybody's garden and for their house or glass house, whatever it is. But the main thing is, come in and have a look at everything here. It's all on display in the brand new garden centre here at Boyles of Killorglin. That's it for this week. From myself and Trish and everybody here at Boyles, hopefully have a lovely Easter weekend, and we'll talk to you next time. Happy gardening.